We all got to start somewhere, right? Maybe you're looking for your first camera and you're just confused at all of the options out there. And there are a lot of them. But if you're looking for a starter camera, maybe this video will help.
I copy that. I'll do my poll at this time. KC Chief Processing Engineer. Verify no constraints.
If you're looking for your first camera, you should consider the G7. I've been using the Canon 60D for 8 years. The thing is older than dirt. I've shot a couple feature films, countless YouTube videos, and short films with it. The Panasonic G7 just beats the pants off my 60D in every way. It's an unfair comparison, really, considering the 60D came out, what, in 2010? The G7 is a mirrorless camera. Mirrorless cameras are typically more lightweight and compact than DSLRs because they don't have a mirror. This thing feels almost like a toy camera. It's incredibly light. This guy can shoot full HD 1080 at 60, 30, and 24 frames a second. It also shoots 4K UHD at 30 frames and 24 frames per second. This guy is a fully articulating electronic viewfinder. It's a 3-inch LCD touchscreen. Having an articulating viewfinder really comes in handy for run and gun shoots and BTS vlogging. The G7 is a micro 4/3 camera. The sensor is a lot smaller than what you'd find in a DSLR. And there's a crop factor. A 50mm lens on a full frame camera is more like a 25mm lens on the G7. Is the crop factor a big deal? No. Once you get used to it, it doesn't even affect you. Here's a lens for a DSLR, and here's a lens for a micro 4/3 camera. A lot smaller. You can get an adapter if you want to use standard lenses on this camera. There are a lot of different options out there, but that is another video. This thing can shoot in 4K. The big benefit to shooting in 4K is obviously more resolution. But if you don't want your final video to be in 4K, then you can downscale that 4K image into 1080 in post, and it's gonna look twice as good as a regular 1080. On the side, we've got a remote shutter jack, a micro HDMI for video out to a monitor. On the other side, we've got a mic jack by itself. A little odd. It has focus peaking. It makes it really easy to tell what's in focus and what's out of focus. And this is especially important if you're looking at that little viewfinder. When you see these little lines on your LCD screen, that lets you know where your focal plane is. In short, lets you know what's in focus. Also, we've got zebras. When turned on, you'll see these little lines in the highlights. These are areas that are close to overexposing. Micro 4/3 cameras get a bad rap as having poor low light performance, but sure, if you compare it to like an A7S series camera, then yeah, those cameras are like low light monsters, but you can actually get some really decent low light performance out of these cameras. That was shot with the Lumix G7 and the Panasonic 25mm 1.7 lens. You can vlog on these cameras. Is it lightning fast like dual pixel? No, but it's decent. The autofocus in HD is great, but the autofocus in 4K is really slow. Probably wouldn't want to use that one. Face tracking seems to be the best mode for selfie vlogging. I've noticed that the autofocus seems to work better on different lenses. Right now I've got the 25, the Lumix 25 on. We're just gonna do this, see how long it takes. 1, 2, got me, boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seconds, it's got me, boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seconds again. We're back on the 14 to 42, boom. 1, 2, boom, 2 seconds. Boom! Looks like it's got me, boom. 1, 2, 2 seconds. The lens definitely makes a difference. One, there's increased depth of field, obviously, by me being at a focal length of 14. But two, the lens is just more responsive. Like 2 seconds more responsive. So if you want to do any kind of vlogging, you're gonna want to be on a wider lens, especially with this camera. And you can always vlog with a really wide angle lens, and then focus becomes even less of an issue. I'm currently using the 8mm by SLR Magic. Sometimes the contrast detection overrides the face detection. So if you have something with a greater contrast behind you, like this window here, then when I try to focus on me, guess what it's focusing on? That window. So even though it has face detection on, it's contrast. The window is overriding the face detection. Also, again, because the camera is so compact and lightweight, your arm is not gonna fall off at the end of a long day of vlogging. The G7 has a built-in intervalometer for time-lapse photography, plus it can combine the pics into a clip for you. No post-processing required. This is super convenient. You can use the Panasonic app to control your camera via Bluetooth. You can grab focus, adjust settings, record video, take pictures, etc. This comes in handy if you're recording yourself doing demos. I have limited experience with this app, and from what I hear, apparently it's unstable, but it's worked for me every time I've had to use it, so I don't know. Pros. Well, the price point is number one. You're getting a 4K shooter with plenty of features and a kit lens for a little over $500. This camera doesn't overheat. You don't have to worry about overheating issues. The batteries are 1,200 milliamp hour batteries. They actually last a while. They've lasted longer than any other native camera batteries that I've used in other camera systems. The user interface is very simple. You won't be mired in a ton of settings like the A7 series cameras, which for a beginner is very intimidating. Cons. Build quality. The camera feels very light and plasticky. One drop and this thing is probably done, so either be very careful or get a camera cage. Continuous autofocus. Sometimes the camera will start hunting for focus right in the middle of a shot. This is not as big of a deal if you're vlogging, but if you're shooting a film, do not use continuous autofocus. Set your focus manually. External monitor. Another thing with the G7, as you can see, I'm getting signal to my external monitor, but the second I press record, boom. Now we're recording. No signal. I know why they did it. I get it. But that's like definitely one thing that does bug me. They did this because obviously they don't want to cannibalize on their higher end cameras. I get it, but it's still annoying. But I still get audio, surprisingly. If this is your first camera, this doesn't really affect you because you're not using an external monitor. Focus by wire. On a normal lens, as you turn the focus ring, the lens elements are adjusted mechanically. With focus by wire, the lenses have no markings. When you turn the focus ring, focusing is done all electronically and it tends not to be as responsive. I'm not a fan of it. I actually hate it. The focus by wire system isn't ideal for filmmaking. It makes it practically impossible to have a focus puller on a professional shoot. But for a beginner, this isn't really that big of a deal. SD card slot. The SD card slot is not in a convenient spot. Why is it at the bottom in the battery compartment? I don't know. You gotta take the camera off the tripod to access it. Time for a SD card swap. So completely comes off the rig. And we are back in business.
What are we doing, Darius?
If your camera's in a big rig, this becomes super annoying. It's a problem. But for beginners, this really isn't a big deal. There is no jack for a headphone, so you can't monitor camera audio. Most Canon cameras don't have one. I never had one with my 60D. It's not that big of a deal. Yes, there are workarounds. If you're doing dual system sound, meaning you're recording all your audio to a separate recording device and syncing it later, this doesn't really affect you. Who is this for? You can use this to shoot weddings. You can use this for music videos, narrative, documentary, and commercial filmmaking, vlogging. It's an all-around solid camera. Not perfect, but solid. So, here's some footage. As a matter of fact, I'm shooting my next short film using the G7, so stay tuned for that. It's gonna be hard to find something cheaper than the G7 that offers the same value. I think that for the money, this pretty much smokes the competition. If you're interested in checking this little guy out, links as always are below. And if you are a G7 owner, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Also, if you're serious about making movies, I made an entire feature-length documentary about how I made my first feature film from start to finish. We covered all the grueling details from the writing, to the money, to the shooting, editing, marketing, and beyond. We faced a ton of challenges. There's a lot of good stuff in here for you guys. If you are a filmmaker, I highly suggest you check it out. You will be glad that you did. I will link it in the description section. And also, when I finish this short film that I'm shooting for all you peeps in the future seeing this, I will link that short film in the description section. As always, thank you for watching. Keep hustling. D-Brit out.
A flight who still needs a little bit more time to make his evaluations on RTLS weather. I copy that. I'll do my poll to